This is Entrepreneurs Get Visible, the podcast for people who want more impact, influence, and income. I'm Anna Parker-Naples, and I'll be sharing with you proven methods from leading entrepreneurs that help you get visible as an authority in your field. Because anything's possible when you get visible. In today's episode of Entrepreneurs Get Visible, I am joined by the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. Now, this man left school with no qualifications and spent years on benefits before completely turning his life around by starting his own business. He now runs over 5,000 business networking events per year with his company 4Networking. He's entertaining and funny and quite down to earth, so I think you're going to enjoy this episode. I'd like to introduce you now to Brad Burton. So welcome, Brad, to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. I'm excited for us to have a chat today about how quickly you've had to change direction with your business as a result of lockdown and everything that's going on. So I mentioned in the intro that you are host to 4Networking, which is predominantly, has always been in person. So tell us a little bit about what you've had to do to bring that up to speed recently.
So my business started in 2006 and we now run over 5,000 real-life business networking events across the UK each and every year, or we did prior to COVID landing. And we've had to change, we've had to evolve, and now we've brought it online, 4nonline.biz. We now run, where are we up to? Probably up to a run rate of 1,200 meetings a year right now from a standing start. Online meetings, and it uses the same format that we've always used on the networking front, but we've had to adapt, and this is the thing, so many of us with this situation need to adapt. See, 2 weeks ago, I went to buy some vegetables. From the farm shop, and as I was getting served, the lady behind the counter coughed. And that was enough for me to go, okay, flag on play. As I'm driving back, I rang my wife and said, listen, do me a favour, clear the island, posh, clear the island, going to put all the veg on there, I need you to wash it. So as she washed the veg, I took all my clothes off in the kitchen and put them into the washing machine. I goes upstairs and I has a shower immediately. Now, if I would have done that 6 weeks ago, prior to this, everyone would have gone, you're absolutely crackers, Brad. Mm-hmm. Doing it now is normal. Now, here's the thing. If you're still behaving or managing your business like you did 6 weeks ago, you're going to end up in a losers column because the world has changed and so many people are trying to hang on to the past. So many people are trying to hang on to the way it once was, as if somehow that's coming back. It isn't. No. And this is why I created this 4Networking Online, where it changed everything. It changed everything for me because a multi-million-pound business, 14-year-old business, collapsed. It would have been gone. That would have been it. En finito, gone, over. And we had to adapt. And that's what we've done. Fortunately, we've managed to pretty much get ourselves back to out of ICU, effectively, business ICU, and do something fresh and something innovative. And where 4Networking differs from every other business network is, it's a bit like having a laptop computer. If it's not connected to the internet, it's not that powerful. And that's what we've done with 4Networking. You didn't join one group, you joined the entire network. So you could go from Cornwall, Manchester, London. Same situation now with 4N Online. You can network around the world using this online stuff, which is just fascinating.
I've actually been to some 4N networking groups, and what I liked about it was that there was a very clear structure in how you were greeted when you came into the room. There were lots of people in charge. They had different roles, and it was all very clear who was doing what. Mm-hmm. And what I liked was that there was a really open possibility to get up and speak, and not just at your local networking, but to become part of that wider network. Before we started recording, Brad, you said that you have built this incredible speaker business with no formal speaker training, mostly through being able to get up in front of other people and hone your craft, hone your pitch. So tell us a little bit about that journey from where you started to the empire that you have now.
Sure. So when I started out, nobody gave me a chance. I started my business, £25,000 in debt, no income. I walked out of a job, a wife that wanted me to go and get a proper job. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I was making it up. Same goes to my speaking career. With the networking events, I'd go to a 4Networking event and I would do what's called a foresight, an insight, not a sales pitch. And you've got to make it entertaining. So I was doing that 10 or 15 minute speeches at 4Networking, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, oh, Brad, you're so inspirational, you're so motivational, and I'm like, thanks. And then you get it again and again and again, and then all of a sudden somebody would say, oh, there's a local business show and the speaker's dropped out, can you do it, Brad, tomorrow? And you go, yeah, okay. And the next thing, I'm speaking in front of an audience of 80 chairs, of which is 23 people there. And now you kind of get a taste for it. And now you think, okay. And that's how I built my speaking career up. And now at the highest level in the UK, JTB, Costa, Bentley, Zero, the Business Show, the NHS, the list really does go on. At the highest level, I'm getting booked. Now, for those people that can't see me, I am from Manchester, I do have a shaved head, I do have tattoos, and I do, but don't worry, I'm not a drug dealer anymore. But we can all change. And this is the thing, every step of the way, I was told that I could never be a motivational speaker, that I would never make it as a motivational speaker because my voice wasn't right, or, I needed to wear a three-piece suit and a pocket watch. And actually, all those people that give me the advice, I've kind of surpassed them, right? And this isn't about them, this is about me doing it my way. So fundamentally, I wear jeans, trainers, and t-shirts, and you can see it on the background here. You speak in front of 3,000 accountants and this, that, and the other. And this is my personal brand. And there's two things going on here. One is that, I like wearing jeans, trainers, and t-shirts. And the reality is I can't be asked with formality and professional, that formal dress wear and business wear. You don't need it. So I've set myself out as a field of one in the motivational speaker space. It look a little bit edgy, but the reality is I just can't be asked to go and get my suits out of the dry cleaners. But the reality is that I've managed to create myself a niche, and I refer to myself as the UK's number one motivational business speaker. And I did that on purpose. I did that knowing full well that what that would do is get people talking about me, and people would either talk about me negatively, this guy, who does this guy think he is, what a prick he is, right? Absolutely. Or, people would say, oh, I've never heard of him, and they'd go and seek me out. Now, here's the reality of it. As I said to you, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. Which boxer am I referring to? Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, right? Yeah. And the reason that we refer to Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, 40, 50 years on, is because he referred to himself as the greatest. Do you honestly think we'd be going, fucking hell, I'll tell you what, that Muhammad Ali was the greatest, even though he got knocked out 5 times? No. So this is the reality, is that the first person you've got to convince of your brilliance is you. And people get that one wrong. So me calling myself the UK's number one motivational business speaker, in 8 years, I've never had the Advertising Standards Authority on me. In 8 years, I've never had the police come and kick me back doors in and arrest me if I'm police. So what was the downside? The downside was people that don't like me are going to say, well, he's not. And that's great. So what was really interesting is that I created this personal brand out of nothing. Nobody can tell me how to run my life. Nobody can tell me how to be a speaker. Nobody can tell me. I do it my way. I've had no formal training. But what I do know is it works because clients include Costa Coffee, Bentley, JTB, Screwfix, NHS, Zero. You wouldn't be getting booked at that level.
No.
If
you weren't delivering.
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't delivering, and also if the reality was it was a bluffer, it would only get you so far. And I think that's the thing about as a speaker is that initially when you first start off, I mean, I've died in front of audiences. Let me be quite clear. I've died in front of audiences, and this is a bit that nobody kind of talks about. But I remember going back 5 years ago. I was speaking at an event, and it was for a staffers event. It was, and these guys did the website for Tesco's and stuff. And I was due to be speaking at 4 o'clock. I was relatively wet behind the ears. 6 years ago, it was actually. And I remember going to the loo at about 2 o'clock. I was speaking at 4 on a Friday. It was over in Cambridge. And I remember going to the loo. And in the urinals, there was 2 guys, and there was a space in the middle, wet in the middle. And these 2 guys were saying, this is supposed to be motivational. What a load of shit. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be an interesting one.
And I'm up soon.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then this is like, nerves got hold of me. I said, hey, guys, if you think it's not motivational, wait till later. I mean, I'm not even straight out of David Brent playbook. And I go to speak at 4 o'clock, and prior to me speaking, the sales director came on wearing Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses because the future was so bright. And everyone was laughing at him. I'm looking at the audience. Everyone's laughing at him. The staff didn't like him. They didn't want to be there, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I goes on. I'm doing 45 minutes, and then 25 minutes in, I'm dry. I've got nothing. I've done everything that I can. I've cracked all my jokes. I've got nothing. But prior to that, when I was going to get invited up, the managing director said, looking for my card. Oh, I can't find the introduction. It's just some fat bloke from Manchester. And I walked on. And I had 45 minutes this, and 25 minutes in, I've got nothing. And I'm pausing. I'm going, this is not working. And I pauses and looks at the audience and says, I think this is fair to say this isn't going as I would like it to. I said, I should be the UK's number one demotivational speaker, a bit of a laugh. I said, look, let me explain something. As a speaker, you're always going to find the positive. As a motivational speaker, you find the positive in everything. And I said, I've learned something, and this is what I want you to write down. Experience is what you win when you lose. Think about that. Experience is what you win when you lose. And you don't want to know what I've learned today? And he says, go on. I said, never do a fucking job in Norfolk. And I walked off. I got a big round of applause and a laugh. And that was it. But, the reality is with this thing is that you've got to push yourself You've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's never comfortable being a speaker, not at first. And most normal people wouldn't do it again. Most normal people would die and say, you know what, I'm never doing that again.
Every crowd you get is different. And I think that's the nature and actually the beauty of speaking. I come from an acting background, come from a lot of theatre. And now when I talk, when I get up on stage, I am very aware that you've got to know your material. You've got to know your stuff. You've got to know you're good at what you do. Right. But you've also got to be bouncing off what the crowd is giving you. And a lot of those things are non-verbal, aren't they?
No,
and if you let yourself get overly distracted by the people who are disengaged, and that can really throw you. So I think that's a very brave step that you took to decide this audience isn't going to work for me. So I can deliver my content and it not land.
No,
or I can do something strong.
Well, listen, I had nowhere to go with that. I'd done. Now, but what was great about that is I always ask when I come off stage, what did I like best? What would I do next time differently? And I've spoke over 2,500 times professionally in the last 10 years or whatever it is. So you learn massively. I've only ever died probably 5 times. But, I call it commando rolling, is that you kind of just want a commando roll out of there. And I remember seeing some photographs of me when I died and my ears were red, like heat sinks, embarrassed. But that's it. And it's that ability to go, okay, what did I learn from this? How can I move on? But, the career that I've got as a speaker, obviously that's dried up with everything that's going on. But if I'd never achieved anything further from this point onwards, I kind of tick that box of doing it at the highest level in the UK. And actually, it's been wonderful, given that I'm just a working class lad, no qualifications, been addicted to drugs twice, done 4 years on benefits, delivered pizzas at 31 and got shot at when I was 21. This isn't your archetypal route to being a speaker. Far from it. And also, it's not your archetypal route to being an entrepreneur. But what I've done is I've looked at my life and said, okay, from all these things that I've overcome or dealt with in my life, what does this make possible? And that's a question that I ask people to ask right now. When the shit's hitting their fan with everything that's going on at the moment, ask that question. What does this make possible? And for me, it made possible to get a blank piece of paper with my business and say, okay, how would I design my business now? How would I design my life now? And whenever it gets tough, and it will get tough, is I want you to ask this question or say this to yourself. This is not how my story ends. This is not how this story ends. And by doing that with 3 epaulets at the end of it, you can go, okay, what do we need to do now? And it just gives you that strength to go on. Because I'll tell you, certainly not in the recent, with this whole debacle, it's not leveled now. But I had a nervous breakdown 8 years ago. And the great thing about a nervous breakdown is you get to rebuild yourself differently. And it kind of prepared me for this, because if it wasn't for the nervous breakdown 8 years ago, I'd be having one now. So
what was your biggest takeaway then 8 years ago? And were you already speaking? Were you already in the motivational field when that happened for you? Or did that force you?
No, I was loosely in the motivational speakers field, loosely. But what's happened as a result of it is I've evaluated and evolved. And my message lands like, it's just universal, because my story is everyone's story. And what I mean by that is when I talk about the drugs, or I talk about getting shot at, or I talk about depression, or this, that, and the other, everyone's got a story. The difference is I'm daft enough to share it, right? And actually, if you just looked at me online, all you'd see is Brad Burton, the author of 4 books, and the motivational speaker, and the founder of 4 Network, and all these, all this stuff that we put our best foot forward. But the reality is there's another side of my life which actually people don't know about, and the only reason they know about it is because I share it. And everyone's got a side of their life. And when my life started turning round was at the point when I said, you know what, bollocks, I don't care if people don't like me or people don't appreciate my honesty about what life. When I started my business off, I was literally delivering pizzas. I was going to the Coinstar machine and putting all my 2s and 1s in it at Summerfield because I had no money. And people nobody shares this, the reality of what it's like to run a business, because people are embarrassed. And actually, I'm not embarrassed about anything. I know that what I'm doing is making a positive difference by being so honest. It's allowing other people to be honest.
Why is it important to you to make that difference?
Great question. So if you look there, my book called Now What, which is the latest one, I've got every material thing that I could possibly wish for in my life, like everything, right? And the only time it's now what I could do is go and get some gold taps. I don't want gold taps, but you see, I've got everything sensible that I want, right? House, car, My motivation, I wrote that book, Now What? Because I'd reached that point in my life where I'd got everything that I'd kind of what normal people would say, this is, you reach the top of your game. And actually asked that question, now what? Because we believe, and this is why, people believe that success is about making money. Success is about having offices. Success is about getting out of a helicopter and then going playing tennis with Richard Branson. And actually, you know what success is? Success is about being happy, being content with what you've got, right? So many people are chasing that my life's going to be good when you get a 40-inch television, then it's a 60-inch, then it's an 80-inch, then it's a 100-inch. Now you want a 40-foot cinema. Where does it end? And this is what people do. They spend, I'm not saying that money can't buy you happiness, but it helps. But what I will say is that the pursuit of endless wealth and money, that causes you unhappiness. That's why people who are mega rich commit suicide, because you get to this emptiness in your life. So my motivation right now with this honesty, and actually what it's about, is to make a positive difference. I don't need to make any more money. I don't need to make any more money.
So who is it you most want to touch then with that message?
People who, like me, who have been told they never amount to anything. I am a working class lad from Salford, Manchester, no qualifications. Dad left when I was 6 months old, addicted to drugs twice, 4 years on benefits, got shot at when I was 21, delivered pizza at 31. It's hardly the CV for someone who can be an entrepreneur and success. But this is the thing. Nothing's changed in my ingredients. I'm still a little bit woe, still a little bit away. But what's changed is my recipe. And we can all change. And once you realise that a guy with no qualifications can write 4 best-selling books, he can start a multi-million-pound business from nothing, £25,000 in personal debt, on daft cars and televisions, or owned, that he can become a motivational speaker and speak at the highest level in the UK, then that anyone can be anything you want. But what we need to stop doing is stop comparing ourselves to other people, stop looking at Richard Branson, Anthony Robbins, Grant Cardone, and start comparing our lives to us. How can we be a better version tomorrow than we was today?
Yeah, there's a lot you said there that I agree with. So knowing that you have achieved financially the things you wanted to achieve, and yet we've had this recent instability where your business could have gone down the tube if you'd let it.
That's right, yeah.
What do you think the lesson is for you in that?
I think the lesson is with everyone here is be prepared to change. Now, change isn't easy, right? But let me explain something. I'm going to share something with you that Bentley Global use. This is their process of making decisions. And the reason that Bentley Global use it is because I taught it them, me, Brad Burton, the former drug addict, Brad Burton, the 4 years in Brad Burton, this goes on. When it comes to making decisions, your success or failure in your life and in your business is going to be defined by your ability to make decisions. Want more success, make better decisions. And the reason people don't make better decisions is they're scared that they're the wrong ones, right? If you knew 100% that every single decision that you made was the right one, you'd make more decisions, right?
Yes.
So think about it. Where you end up in your life, either here or here, is a direct result of thousands of decisions. And psychology today turns around and says that we make. I'm going to ask you a question. How many decisions do you reckon you make a day?
We take about 60,000 thoughts per day. So
best guess.
I don't know, 30,000?
Bang on the nose, to the minute.
Look at that, 30,000. How many people?
30,000 decisions. You're the first one ever. 30,000
that's because I was thinking, I know there's 60,000 thoughts a day. How many of those are actually decisions? So
right. So 30,000 decisions. That's what we make a day. And, how many people are conscious of every single one of those decisions, right? Whether you should have a Jaffa cake, or you should eat 3, or you should have 2 sugars instead of 1 sugar, or whatever. These small micro decisions. Now, imagine if you could program yourself to make every single one of those 30,000 decisions better, right? We'd be like, everything will be better. Now, here's what I've managed to do. I've done this with my life, because when it comes to making decisions, the reason we don't make them is we're scared of the wrong ones. Well, let me explain something. So an expert is someone that has made all the mistakes in a particular niche field. So when it comes to public speaking, I've made them all. So I've had to make them all. But what would happen is most people would die in front of 200 people and say, I'm never doing that again, right? Whereas I've gone, okay, what did I learn from that? Right, bosh. So next time to make sure they've got the intro. If they've not got the intro, you crack a joke. So that Norfolk one is I learned something from that when you've lost your way, right? I can then go to say, look, you know what, I've lost my way. And in life and in business, sometimes we can lose our way. And we end up on stage when people are looking at us and we don't have an answer, and it starts, so a fallback position. But going back to the point I made, your success or failure in your life is going to be defined by your ability to make decisions. Where you are right now in your life, your relationships, whatever, is a direct result of your decisions. You can blame being locked in the coal shed when you're 6-year-old by your dad, but actually it's down to you. Boris Johnson, Trump, it's not down to them, it's down to you. So the reason we don't make decisions is we're scared of the wrong ones. So here's the thing. Here's what I do. I make decisions. I'll tell you about that Bentley thing in a second. If I make a decision and it's the wrong one, it moves me one step towards being an expert. If I make the right one, it moves me one step towards success. You can't lose. So here's what I do. this is my whole mandate. Make better decisions faster. This is what I stand for. Better decisions banned. Now what? Better decisions faster. So when it comes to making decisions, I will make a decision in 24 seconds. If I can't make a decision in 24 seconds, I'll then revisit it in 24 minutes. If after 24 minutes, I can't make a decision, I'll revisit it in 24 hours. If after 24 hours, I can't make a decision, I've just made a decision, it isn't fucking important. Next. That is how I go. I will never let a decision go over 24 hours. So I'm moving forward. So this whole COVID thing with my business, stopped, and I knew the lockdown was coming. I was panic buying well before anyone even started panic buying. I was like 8 weeks out. I played enough computer games in my life to know where this was going, right? So I was sitting pretty, me, going weeks before anyone else started panic buying. So that 24 seconds, I made the decision to change my business in 24 seconds.
And that allows you then to take firm action because you've made the decision. It's behind you. You can then go full steam ahead.
Correct. And ask yourself a question. What does this make possible? What it makes possible. And I'm about to show you something right now. Right? It's a top secret, but I'll show you anyway. Right? I'm going to turn this back around so you can see it. So I'm about to show you something. This is what it makes possible. I got myself a blank piece of paper and I wrote 25th of the 3rd, BB, the future of business networking. I got a blank piece of paper and I said, what does my business look like now? If I had a blank piece of paper to start again, what would it look like? And that's what I've done.
And so anyone can do that for their life at any point. Any point.
Yeah, but what ends up happening is people are scared of making change. So if I didn't make change, let me share this with you. So my computer that I use now is a laptop and it's got Windows 10 on it. I would not use a computer with Windows 95 on it. Would you?
I'm a Mac user, so I wouldn't.
Okay, all right. But you see
But I get the point.
All right, so
you wouldn't go backwards.
You wouldn't use an OS from 10 years ago. You wouldn't use an OS from 10 years ago.
No.
Why? Because it's open, it's flawed, it's not a speeder. Guess what? The same goes for your brain. Think about your brain like a hard drive. Think about your way you look at the world like an operating system. So many people, nobody used Windows 95, unless they like Minesweeper, but nobody used Windows 95. And yet I can guarantee that people who are listening to this right now will have Windows 95 thinking. There'll be stuff going on from 1995. Never trust a man who wears a velvet jacket. Never trust a man who wears slip-on shoes. Just shit from 1995 that you've not managed to get rid of. So I've updated my operating system. Because the Brad that you're talking to now, if I were to go back 20 years ago, I couldn't have started a business off. I couldn't have run a business. I couldn't have been a speaker because I had this different way of looking at the world. So once you start upgrading your operating system, which is in your brain, that's when you start seeing more positive results. And too many people... Sorry, go on.
What was the pivotal moment for you then, back 20 years ago? If you look at you 20 years ago, before all of this happened, what happened? What changed?
So let me go back 15 years, and that'll be more suitable, I think, is that they are my tattoos of my children. My boy came along, and all of a sudden, it was no longer about me. So actually, if it was left to me, I'd be sat there smoking bongs all weekend. Lovely, right? Everything was in the short term. Work a shit job, pissed off, go out clubbing Friday, Saturday, work a shit job. And so it continues. And actually, I lived everything in the short term. So everything is in the short term. And what I did, it confused fun with happy. Mm-hmm. So we end up doing fun. Fun is going out and getting shit-faced. Fun is doing drugs, smoking, drinking, partying. Happy is when you don't need to do any of that stuff. And this is and the reason that people do fun is because they can't see the happy. They don't believe that happy is for them. And people then go, my life's going to be good when I get the 40-inch television, 60-inch, 80-inch. Success and happiness is always around the next corner when I get married, when I have the baby, when we get the house, when I get the new job, when I get promotion. And you get the job and promotion. And guess what? You're not happy still. No. It's around the next corner, next corner. Yeah,
exactly. You're constantly on that treadmill of going after the next thing. No level of satisfaction.
Correct. And this is why I've said bollocks to that, right? And actually, Grant Cardone's straddling a frigging $50 million jet as if somehow that's to be coveted. And actually, you look at his what he does a day. He has 30 minutes with his children. Well, that's great, Grant. Look forward to that.
I want to live my life.
Absolutely. But this is the thing. If you want to live your life like that, Grant, crack on. And this is what people need to understand. I want to live a life where I can have tattoos, look like a drug dealer, and speak on stage. Now, nobody can tell me I can't do that because I can do that. Nobody can. When I first started that book there, Get Off Your Arse, I was talking about literature. You can't call a book Get Off Your Arse. You won't get it published and you won't get it in Waterstones. Well, guess what? I got it published and got it in Waterstones. People said to me, Brad, you can't start a phone networking, 50% social, 50% business. Oh, it needs to be 80% business. Bullshit. I've done it. And actually look at the social bit now, right now, more than ever before, is more important than ever before. Brad, you can't be a motivational speaker. Why not? You've got a shaved head. You need to have a hair. You need to have a three-piece suit. You need to be an orator. Bullshit. So this is the thing. I've been allowed for so many years, allowed people to tell me what I could and couldn't be. And I ended up being nothing. I ended up achieving nothing because I allowed the world through osmosis for me to surround myself with people. And I was just the thick northerner in the office with a cheap suit on, trying to put a posh voice on.
Do you think there was a part of you that always felt you were capable of more?
Yeah, but my focus, you get what you focus on. I was very good at chatting up women when I was 20 years old. Do you know, that's the reality of it. You know, that's what I was good at, whatever that, it's not really a good life skill, is it? But that's what I was good at. And actually, I've always been a communicator, but I didn't realise I was a communicator. And if you're a communicator in Salford, Manchester, working class, the only kind of role models you've got are drug dealers. Mm-hmm. The only kind of way forward that you've got is by being the man in the nightclub. So I've always been able to do that. I never paid to go in nightclubs, right? And I look back and I can't even understand how I managed to do that. But I never paid. I didn't have to. People let me in. And I think to myself, what was going on there? Why was it 20, 21, and 22? By default, I would never have to queue. Is it my face? I have no idea. And I genuinely am trying to reconcile what was going on there. But I was always very good at opening doors. I was always very good at making stuff happen when seemingly impossible, albeit in a lower level. And actually what I've done is I've applied myself right now so that my message is no longer about chatting up women, right? My message is about delivering.
Although that could be a very good business, to be honest, couldn't it? So for someone...
Not if you're married, it isn't, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. So for someone then who is not in a great place right now, and there's lots of people not in a great place right now.
Of course.
Maybe not dealing with lockdown well, or this is just a wake-up call financially or in terms of everything. What would your advice be to them?
Okay, so several things here. First and foremost, for me to be in my position right now, let me be quite clear. So I've got everything here, but honestly, if I'd not moved, I would be in trouble. So let me be quite clear. From a financial perspective, I would be in trouble, right? So, but what I understand is I've come from fuck all anyway. I've lived on Tesco's beans and waffles. I've been on the dole. So actually, if I needed to go back there again, so what? So 3 questions that I'm going to ask your audience right now. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, I just want you to listen to these words. Let these words ring through your head. Number 1, are you going to starve to death? No. Number 2, are you going to lose your house property or your rental property? No. Might you get a snotty letter from a landlord or the mortgage company? Yes. It's a fucking snotty letter. You ain't losing your house just because you got a letter, right? Number 3, are you going to die? No. If you behave yourself, you keep on the lockdown, you keep yourself safe and your family safe by washing and staying away, you're not going to die. So 1, are you going to starve to death? No. 2, are you going to lose your house? No. 3, are you going to die? No. Well, let me explain something. If you're feeling sorry for yourself right now, there'll be someone in an ICU ward right now on a ventilator who would quite happily swap your situation. So you do yourself a favour and don't you dare, you owe it to those people right now who are not as fortunate as you or I to be listening to this or to have a garden or to be able to walk the dog or whatever. You owe it to them. We owe it to the country. So stop feeling sorry for ourselves. We, as a collective, have to start rising up and start getting our strength and internal strength back. And actually, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family. Do it for those you love. And that's what it is about me, because if it was left to me, I'd be on the bongs. However, it's not about me. What do I say? I've got to do it for my family. And that is why, when it comes 4 weeks ago, when the shit hit the fan, I went, right, Brad, forget this. This is a war zone. What do you need to do to get through this? And I'll say the same to you. What do you need to do to get through this? Find a way. Find a way. Find a way.
And I think that's great advice for anyone, whether you're struggling financially at the moment, whether you don't know what you want to happen for your business, whether you want to even stay in business, whatever it is you want to build, find that way to make it happen. Because as soon as you start thinking with that kind of mindset, with absolute determination that you will find a way through, it might not be the direct path you hoped for, might not be easy, but nothing ever is easy. It's how you navigate those challenges. And that's what we're in right now. So I think great advice. So thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts with us today. For anyone who wants to find out more about you, I know you have a podcast as well, I believe.
Yeah. And it's on my bradburton.biz website. You'll find it on there.
Great.
But also a YouTube channel. I've actually started a YouTube channel. It's
got a YouTube channel. And it's 4N Online Network.
Online.biz. 4nonline.biz. I'd really love you to check it out. It's literally a £5. Come along to it as a visitor. Just check out what we're doing. It is genuinely revolutionary. I was skeptical. Even I was skeptical. I thought, oh gosh, this ain't going to work. And it has. Like, on the contrary, it's like, I'm asking questioning why we didn't do this before. And I think that's what this life that you've got right now, we're going to look back in this in 10 years' time and we'll be through it and go, gosh, you remember that? This time we're never going to get back. Can I just share one more thing?
Of course.
My mum, she's 75, and I spoke to her the other day. Anyone else got a 75-year-old that you can't keep in? Just nip into the shops for a copy of Bella, nip into the shops for a chicken breast. Mum, stay in. Anyway, so they're a completely different podcast. But anyway, she said to me the other day, she went, we've taken for granted the fact I can go to Costa. I've taken for granted the fact I could just go nip to the shops. I've taken for granted that I could just... And I said, Mum, understand this. You are taking today for granted. The fact that you can speak to me on FaceTime, the fact that you can sit in your garden. And I want everyone to listen, to learn those words or to learn that situation and go, you know what? Don't take today for granted. We look back wistfully about the things that we no longer we can do. Well, guess what? There'll be someone looking back wistfully about what you're doing, thinking that I wish they could. So don't take anything for granted. And actually, your success or failure from this moment forward, your life is one decision away from a completely different future. When this is all over, and it will be over, is that there'll be two columns, one with losers, one with winners. And actually, if you want to be a winner on that winners column, then you need to make the decisions right now and don't allow those decisions to be made for you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that today, Brad. I think that's a great place for us to leave today. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. To get your free checklist on how to raise your profile and to find out about our community, go to annaparkernaples.co.uk/get visible.